Hey there, it's Viscera Plays and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about presenting live. This is not something I consider a strong point of mine, but it's something I'm going to do very soon for work. I want to make sure that I feel confident, especially because this is for work and I only started my job about a month ago and I need to be comfortable presenting a topic to a new hire. And so I wanted to go through some quick tips. That way I can remind you and remind me at the same time. So if you're okay with that, let's dive into it. Tip number 1, pretend like you know the person and you're comfortable with them. Okay, so maybe you don't want to imagine your best friend or a parent or spouse, because let's be real, we talk to them differently than we would our best friend at work. So imagine a work colleague that you're very comfortable speaking with, and pretend like your new audience, whether it's one person or 100, is that person. And nowadays, when you look up how to do something and you're looking up like instructions on Google of how to do things, or you're looking in a manual, you'll notice that we use the second person voice a lot. Now we do this all the time in instructional design because it's considered more personable. Feel free to speak to your audience, even if it's more than one person, in second person. Like, hi everyone, how are you doing today? I'm so happy to see you and I'm excited about the topic we are going to cover. So there I'm speaking to you in second person, but I'm also using the first person plural, we, to kind of create this emphasis that what we're doing is interactive and what we're doing is joint. Now, tip number 2 is just something I like to keep in mind that kind of helps me with being more comfortable when I speak to audiences in a professional setting. Something I like to remind myself is that we've come a really long way between what the standards were back then, and let's say the 80s, 90s, 2000s, than what the standards are now for professionalism. Like most workplaces allow you to wear business casual, and sometimes you have like blue jeans on Fridays, whereas before you used to be in a suit. And if you were a woman, you would have to be in like a dress suit would be considered formal attire. And so also pantyhose and heels. And honestly, if I had to wear that, I would be really uncomfortable. In fact, I believe that that was considered at the time to be the most professional look. So number 2 is that standards have changed and we're more casual. So just taking a little joy in the fact that we live in today's age and showing a little gratitude to the fact that your workplace is probably a lot more tolerant and more lenient than it was 20, 30 years ago. I see that also with hair, like before, you know, curly hair, or if you had an afro, used to be considered not professional, which I think is very unfair, especially if that's how your hair just grows out. And before, colored hair, like pink hair, purple hair, green hair, would also be considered unprofessional. Overall, I think this is a really, really good idea to be more inclusive and to have like more varied standards for what we consider to be professional. Number 3, it's not brain or heart surgery. So while our presentations may be very important at work, maybe we have a boss to impress, or maybe we're talking to hundreds or thousands of people, or you know, maybe our promotion depends on it. It can seem really high stakes. The point there is it's not high stakes in that if it doesn't go well, no one's going to die. I mean, at worst, you might become a little embarrassed and people might be bored. But beyond that, there's not a huge downside to how your presentation goes. But whether or not that is your strongest presentation, there will be more in the future. Okay, so those were my 3 quick tips for presenting. I will let you know how my personal presentation goes, and I'll get back to you on anything I discovered and just kind of how it went. Okay, talk to you later.